Hey guys! Today I'm going to review Halloween 2 from 1981.
Halloween 2. More of the night he came home.
Halloween 2 came out in 1981 and is an American slasher film. It's a direct sequel to Halloween from 1978. Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence return from the first film. The film was set immediately after the first Halloween film from 1978, since Jamie Lee Curtis had begun to wear a much shorter hairstyle in the 1980s. She had to wear a wig that matched the original hairstyle from the first film. However, you can tell the difference between the hairstyles. Rick Rosenthal directs the film, and this was his first film as a director. It was written and produced by John Carpenter and Debra Hill. Music was by Alan Howarth and John Carpenter. The film runs 92 minutes and cost $2.5 million to make. The film made $25.5 million back. The first film only cost $320,000. Filming took place in Los Angeles, California, and was shot in 6 weeks. However, when the film was released, it had mixed reviews. The film was actually banned in West Germany and Iceland due to the graphic violence and nudity, and a television cut was aired in the early 1980s, with most of the violence cut. A novelisation of the film was published in 1981 by Dennis Etchison under the pseudonym of Jack Martin. The film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence and Dick Warlock. So the plot of this film's directly followed on from the first film. While Dr. Loomis hunts for Michael Myers, a traumatised Laura is rushed to hospital. However, Michael Myers is not far behind her. So this is the first of many sequels. So the film starts with a title sequence like the first film, where the camera gets more close to this pumpkin, so it closes in on this pumpkin, and then towards the end of the title sequence the pumpkin splits in half to reveal a skull. Hey Phil, that was me! Hey, you always say that, Bones, whenever you say a bloody skeleton on screen. That's me, it's all the bloody time. Ah, you cheeky bloody fucker. So I found the title sequence to be quite good, and it got you into the mood, especially with the music. It's the same great music that was used in the original, so I'm glad they did that. Then we get the last 5 or 6 minutes of the first film, and this seemed to happen a lot with sequels during this time. For instance, the Rocky sequels, you'd say the last few minutes of the previous film. And this was partly to do with an audience that didn't have VHS or DVD during this time period. It was to make the audience remember what actually happened in the first film. And towards the beginning of the film, it does capture the style of the original a little bit, with the music and the point of view shots where Michael Myers is tracking people. And it's all set on one night, Halloween, so every scene's dark outside. However, the film does go downhill when it's set in the hospital where Laura's been taken. The whole film's practically set in that one building, so it loses a lot of its atmosphere. So it's a very confined film, with it just being in the hospital. And a lot of this film's more expensive than the first film. In some ways, I actually think it looks more cheaper, believe it or not. One good thing about the film, it does bring back Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence. Only problem is Jamie Lee Curtis is wasted in the film. About the first half of the film, she's basically just lying in a hospital bed. And when she does get up, she's just crawling about, being a bit wimpy. You get an interesting plot twist when you find out that she's the sister of Michael Myers. Donald Pleasence is quite good in this film. He's got a lot of screen time. I think he's in more in this film than the original. However, he's not quite as good. The film is quite gory at times. There's a lot of gory deaths. And there was a TV version that was cut to hell. It's not extreme gore, but it's more gorier than the original, because the original had no gore whatsoever. John Carpenter didn't like the director's first version of the film, believing it to be as scary as an episode of Quincy. A rig edit was done, but Carpenter still found it too tame, so he took over the editing process and sped up the action. He also shot a few gory scenes that were added into the film despite the director's objections. He was annoyed because he wanted the sequel to emulate the original, avoiding explicit violence and gore. However, Carpenter wanted to jump on the success of the wave of slasher films, so he added more gore and violence.
I thought it was tame as bloody hell. Now to be bloody shocked about.
The trouble with this, and a lot of sequels, is there's nothing original about it. It's just retreading the same old story that the first film did, and the first film was far more better. And that's the trouble with sequels. Some sequels, like for instance The Empire Strikes Back, where they continue the story and do more original things, that sort of sequel's good. Like The Godfather 2, that's another example, where they continue a story and they don't just copy what happened in the first film. But you get some sequels like this one, it's just copying the original success. So you get a lot of horror sequels, like there's a lot of Friday the 13th sequels that are just copying what's happened before. A killer on the loose, killing people. Basically, that's the story, whoopee. There's nothing gripping about that.
Apparently all they want are demented madmen running around in ski masks, hacking up young virgins.
And for me, personally, I find these sort of films boring to watch. Almost as bad as modern remakes that remake the exact story of what you've already seen. When I watch a film, I want to be fascinated by a storyline. I don't want to watch the same old stuff. And that's basically what you get with this film. It's just copying the original. So it's out to make money.
Ah, they're just out to make a bloody fast buck, Phil. What a bloody cop-out. If I was in the bloody audience, I'd want my bloody money back. Boring as bloody hell.
So these days you can get sequels that go into the double figures. Part 10, Part 11. It's ridiculous, really. I'd much prefer to watch original stuff. Like, I recently reviewed the Pete Walker films, a box set of the Pete Walker films. And all of them films have original stories, so there's no sequels. And I prefer that, actually. I only like sequels when they do something a bit different. Like I say, The Empire Strikes Back or Godfather 2. So overall, I found this sequel boring to watch. Whereas the first film I thought was a masterpiece of suspense, the original Halloween. But this, it's a massive disappointment, and I bet fans were really disappointed when they went to watch this at the cinema. So a 10, I can only really give it a 5. 5 out of 10. And that's only because Jamie Lee Curtis and Dr. Pleasence were in it. So what did you think, Bones? Did you like it?
I thought it was a load of bloody shite, Phil. I was bought a bloody buggery with it.
Bye everybody, bye. Bye.